Chelsea taking on Liverpool. Liverpool, despite still being top of the table, back-to-back losses. Meanwhile, Chelsea in league play, they're winless in 3. They did pick up a 1-0 win over Benfica Tuesday in a sloppy match in Champions League. So we are talking all about this one because this is a big game. When we think about Chelsea and Liverpool, it's been sloppy the last couple of weeks. Aaron, how much of a factor is that going to be in this matchup?
Yeah, both of these teams, Chelsea and Liverpool, look disjointed, discombobulated. They look like they're not really on the same page with each other, with the manager. They're in a difficult period, and this match is massive for both of them.
Who needs the points more?
I wrestled over this. I stayed up late last night. I tossed and turned. I was like, who really needs the points more? I was like, is it Liverpool? But they're sitting top of the table. Yes, they've had a couple bad results. They're still top of the table. They'll be fine. If Chelsea loses this one, Enzo Maresca probably gets sacked. They probably sell 4 or 5 players. They probably buy 6 players. Everything kind of changes around. I think, for me, Chelsea needs the points more. For
Chelsea, we've been hovering around the panic button for a while. It was like, what happens with Champions League? Oh, they win.
We're like right there.
This might be the weekend. But for Liverpool, they're still trying to figure out how to fit the pieces in that they've brought in over the summer. This is a group that has brought in huge players, Florian Wirtz being the biggest one. And our UCL coverage of Jamie Carragher talked so much about how this is a team that needs to not start Florian Wirtz. But when you think about how this group has brought in different players, when you have a team that has so many new faces, why does it take so long to get them into the mix and on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, look, 4 starters for me coming into it, that's quite a big shift. Normally, maybe 2 or 3 tweaks. 4 is a lot, so that takes time. And then for me, I've played with plenty internationals that have come into the league in England, and it does take time. And Stina Blackstenius always rings to mind when I think of that. You know, top player, superstar in the game now, but came from the Swedish league, and it's different tacticals. You're used to way more space. All of a sudden, WSL playing against a low block. But credit to her, that, kept working and built herself up to one of the best in the WSL and Champions League. So I think it's a big call saying someone needs to be dropped, but I understand football's fickle game, and there's no. He's had a fair few games now, though. I think it's 7, if I'm right, come in and no goals, 1 assist. So is it time for a change? Maybe we'll see it at the weekend.
Tom, this transfer number for Florian Wirtz, he's not producing.
Absolutely, and with the quality of depth and the quality of options at Liverpool and at Chelsea, at any team that is vying for top 4, top 5 in England, there are going to be other options. So him being dropped from the lineup, I think that should be happening. It gives him space to kind of reset. Maybe he comes in the second half as a sub when the game states are a little bit different, a little bit more favorable to him, and even just to protect him a little bit. We won't be talking if they lose or draw against Chelsea and he starts. That's going to be the storyline immediately, whether, why is he playing if he's not playing well? There are other options. He's being a little deferential in this attack, which I understand. If you're a new player coming into a team, you come into a champions, they need to be building it a little bit more around him or letting him be more comfortable to be you. That's why you got signed for so much money. That's why there were so many clubs who wanted to sign you. Just go be you.
I think you can see it. I think now you can see the doubt starting to creep in with those kind of players, that if they don't get that early goal when you're at a new club to kind of win over the fans, win over us talking about it, it's a really difficult place to be in.
Yeah, it's tough as well because Florian Wirtz has displaced and changed the system for Liverpool. Liverpool played a 4-3-3. Gravenberch sitting right in front of that back 4, and they look way more open because they've changed the system to more of a 4-2-3-1, where Gravenberch gets forward more, but there's not really that cover in front of the back 4. Florian Wirtz hasn't fully settled into it. And then you've got a Dominic Szoboszlai who's been displaced. There's that EA ratings video where they drop the EAFC ratings. Szoboszlai sitting behind Wirtz when he gets his 89. On the 83. You can kind of see a little bit of, you sure you deserve that one, bro?
The shade being thrown.
Yeah.
Well, we're all talking about Florian Wirtz and this storyline, but you guys each picked your own. So, Tom, what is your biggest storyline heading into this Chelsea-Liverpool match?
We're all talking about Florian Wirtz and a big money signing not quite hitting the ground yet. For me, this has more to do with Alexander Isak. Will Alexander Isak arrive? This is a huge match against Chelsea. There's so much history between these two teams. He comes off of not training with Newcastle as he was fighting to get this move to Liverpool. He gets it. He's getting back to fitness. He's getting back to form while learning new teammates, while coming into a team that's a little bit disjointed. And this is a spot for Isak to remind, hey, this is why I'm the British transfer record. This is why you spent so much time trying to get me from Newcastle. This is why even in a team that had Ugo Ekitike started strong, like the one signing who hit the ground running, well, guess what? We wanted Alexander Isak because you are world class. You are the difference in a couple different trophies. And against Chelsea, what a spot this would be.
Creating a chance, an assist, and a goal. What is going to be enough for you for Isak?
Goal. I like his build-up play. I like his link-up play. I like that he can give an assist, but we spent a lot of money. You spent a lot of money on that player. This dude is in here to score goals, and this is a big game for him to do that.
I'm not worried about Alexander Isak. He spent all offseason being isolated, trying to figure out if he was going to leave, he was going to stay. He had no preseason with this Liverpool. You see, he's gassed after like 10 minutes. He makes 2 runs. He's like, when he gets to full fitness, he'll be completely fine. I don't have worries about Isak. I have worries as an Arsenal supporter for Isak, but I don't have worries about him as a player.
Clarifying it.
Yeah, sorry. Last one. Yeah. You got it.
Okay, so then what's your storyline if you're not worried about this?
My storyline is Liverpool's rest defense against Chelsea's counter. This Liverpool, I just talked about it a little bit. They have changed their system. They no longer play with a straight 4-3-3, 3 in midfield with 1 sitting right in front of the back 4. Gravenberch did an incredible job last year cleaning up attacks, recycling the play, and now the system has been shifted. He's sitting beside McAllister. He's got freedom to go forward, but there isn't really that protection in front of the back 4. And Liverpool are so attacking that both of their fullbacks fly up, and it leaves their center backs very, very isolated. Konate and Van Dijk, they have to cover wide spaces. They have to cover in front of them. And when they are in possession, that's when they're most vulnerable, when they are in rest defense, because they don't keep a lot of players back, and they're so positive. Chelsea's front 3 can get at them. That will be the key for them. Joao Pedro, whoever it's going to be, if it's Gittins, if it's Garnacho, if it's Esteval, and then Neto probably on the other side, they have the pace, the technique, and the ability to get in behind. That will be the key for them.
For Liverpool, you're worried about their rest defense when they have possession. It's because they don't really have a lot of structure defensively when they have the ball.
100%.
You're worried about the rest defense because it doesn't really.
There isn't really rest.
It's not really there.
Yeah.
Jen, what are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about Liverpool's forwards and Isak, whether he'll show up at the weekend. If they do, Chelsea's backline have a problem for me. I think they've got big injuries. Tosin, Wesley Fofana, also Chalobah. He's suspended going into this weekend, and he's been one of Chelsea's one of best players this season. So for me, as a former defender, one of the biggest things when you're coming up against best strikers is consistency, structure, shape, cohesion. If you're looking at a backline that's going to be changed a lot, could be a big issue for a Liverpool side that have got something to prove. Off the back of 2 ties, you're going to have forwards that are going to come after it. This team concede a lot of goals already. So injuries, red cards in the back line, a lot of changes could be problems for Chelsea.
With all those changes, it does make for different starting lineups. So let's take a look at what Liverpool is projected to do in their starting lineup, because we've talked a lot about whether it's Isak or who is it going to be in the midfield. We really haven't talked a lot about Mo Salah, Tom.
No.
This is a player that has not hit his peak. He hasn't even met his average at this point. What do we need to see out of him in this match?
Hopefully some more familiarity. So again, like Aaron was saying, it has been more shifted to a box midfield with Wirtz to try to get the best out of a lot of these players. And that puts Salah in. Does he have to provide the width? He doesn't get to play quite like an inside forward. The wingers aren't giving verticality and giving more room for that midfield. And so it's been a little bit awkward for Salah. I think that we're going to see a 4-3-3 with Gravenberch holding. McAllister will be more of an 8. Like Szoboszlai will be more of a 10, but he'll play like an 8. So this puts Gakpo into that channel. Salah, as he is world class at being in that channel. So this should be a moment for him to break through. And again, with Chelsea, they're going to sit deep. We know they are, and I don't blame them given the injuries that they have as well and the liabilities they have in their defense. But for Salah to get closer to Isak, that gets the best out of Frimpong, just bombing forward rather than when you have that box and the 2 wide players aren't giving it a lot. you have to send a left back, you have to send your right back, and Gravenberch is getting a little bit further forward, and now you're worried about counters. So I think this will give the team more control that we were used to seeing under Arne Slot last season, and I think that should get the best out of Salah, even though it's sacrificing creativity in the middle to give Salah and Gakpo and the wingbacks their time to shine.
And no Florian Wirtz in this projected
I agree.
line.
And again, like it's on merit. And this isn't a sign that this was a bad signing. This isn't a sign he isn't going to work out. Liverpool need to use their entire squad. They're going to be playing essentially midweeks every week for most of the season between the league, cup competitions, and the Champions League. There's going to be changes. There's going to be rotation. This is modern football. This isn't about your first 11. This isn't about your first 11 plus 3 subs. You need an 18-man squad, more like 22, to get the best out of everybody in this team.
Well, Chelsea's dealing with those same problems as well. If you think about João Pedro and his attacking presence in this matchup against Liverpool, who has to support him?
It's got to be this front three. Buonanotte is the one in there right now. Neto, Estevao. Like I said, especially on the counter, this Chelsea team have to be on it because Liverpool will have most of the ball. Chelsea will be sitting back for long periods of this game. These two have to have a massive match. There is so much pressure on these two coming in together and haven't really had a lot of time as a center back pairing. Cucurella is going to have a tough time up against Salah. Reece James, he's going to have a tough time up against Gakpo. But this front three is going to, the front four really, but Neto, Buonanotte, Estevao, whoever that three is, they will have to provide Pedro with the chances and really be efficient on the break.
Be that first touch forward, being really progressive in what Chelsea wants to do. That's how they're going to hurt them. So we get to see this matchup this weekend, but now we get to give our predictions, Jen. I have to know. What's your score prediction in this one?
I think based on Liverpool's past 2 performances and how hungry they will be to keep that top of the table spot, and Chelsea's problem in the back line, I'm going Liverpool 2-0.
Ooh, a shutout win.
Yeah, shutout.
Tom, are you happy with that?
I would be happy with anything that ends with 3 points there on the red side. But for me, I think that there's going to be goals in this game. I do not trust the rest of the defense. I do not trust Konate to not have a mistake. I still think Liverpool will take 3 points, but whether it's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, Chelsea has a goal in this game at least. And if they take the most of their transition opportunities, if they take the most of when Liverpool are vulnerable, they can absolutely and honestly easily win this game. But I'm still going with Liverpool because they're due for a better performance.
I'm also going with Liverpool. I think 3-1. That they will concede a goal, I believe, but they just score so many goals. I think they're going to be hungry to get back on track. They'll pull out the 3 points. Funny thing, you mentioned Konate. I saw another thing online. Someone was like, I wonder if Konate has a Duolingo streak for Spain. And Duolingo responded and said he has a diamond streak in Spanish.